down a bit.
Yeah, and originally they had scripted Mitchell as Crichton, which was definitely not the way I would have gone, and more importantly, wasn't the way that Vala would have gone. So Claudia went and set them straight that Daniel Jackson needed to be Mitchell. Is that correct? Crichton, yes, sorry.
I know it all blends after a while, but our careers are very, yeah. What I enjoyed having observed all of the extreme layers of detail and creativity on Farscape behind the scenes in each department. So I enjoyed being able to say to hair and makeup, oh, you want to get that effect on Chiana's wig? Here's what they used to do at night after the day. They would wash it and then hang it upside down, and that's how you get the really cool effect of it sticking out. And if you dye the roots black, get a grey wig and reverse it, dye the roots black, then you'll get that contrast. And they would be so grateful and go, oh, is that how they did it? Oh, thank you. And then they were never wanting to entirely replicate, but it was just really fun to be able to talk to other artists behind the scenes and say, here's what they worked on for several months, at least in pre-production, to try and refine this process, which they would continue to do. I mean, when you're working with great artists, they're constantly looking for ways to refine what they're creating. So there was this amazing atmosphere, even though we were all really under the gun most times to deliver the episodes. It was so ambitious what they were asking of the creature shop and of costume and makeup. And so it was a delight on the set of Farscape to be around that level of creativity and collaboration, and to be able to pass that on for me was the most fun part of doing that little Farscape nod, shall we call it, dig/nod. It was a dig, and we were good sports under the circumstances. Do you feel satisfied? Thank you so much. What? That's a decent question. Hello.
Hi, okay, I just want to make sure I'm at the right distance.
I know, I still don't know enough business.
Ben, I hope you get some use out of that rock we gave you. I don't know. But I wanted to say before I overheard you in the autograph line talking to the veteran, I wanted to say thank you for your family's service to our country regarding your, I don't want to name him, but as someone who was in Iraq and Afghanistan, I appreciate it. So
Thank you.
my question was for both of you, and I've got one small one for Ben. Actually, I'll do one for Ben first. P90 or G36?
G36.
Cool. I've never shot either of them, but I think they're a lot of
No,
fun.
the G36 is superior
Okay.
in every single way, other than the fact it's a little bigger, but yeah.
Roger.
Like, because the P90 wants to jam all the time. They jam all the time.
That's what they do, they jam.
Particularly with blanks in it. G36 was a machine. It was easy. It was an easy reload. It looked good, and I didn't want to look like everybody else. So yeah, I actually pushed hard to get that weapon instead of the P90, which is fine. But yeah, G36.
Awesome. And my second question for both of you is, throughout your careers, what has been your the funnest costume or the worst costume you guys have had to wear?
Wow. And firstly, thank you for your service.
Thank you. I didn't do that much, but thank you.
I mean, I remember it's in some of the posters and photos that we all brought up to the signing desk. There was this amazing leather coat that Terry made that was olive green leather and black paneled. And it bruised my arms at first. And I remember thinking, oh God, like just how? And I'm not very embodied, as a performer, I'm a very ground up actor, so whatever shoes I wear will really help me settle into a character. I have a sense of who they are in heart and spirit, but in terms of body, it's for me very much about the shoes and the ground up aspect. And I remember wearing that jacket and going, oh no, it's very hard for me to human as it is, and this hurts, and I'm not sure what to do about that. And it was beautiful to look at, but I just remember thinking, God, I really don't want to have to suffer for my art. But it was, gorgeous to look at. And they went through again this process of constant refinement, trying to figure out how I could still wear it but not be bruised at the end of the day. I really didn't want to wear that 60s costume. Yes. It's the wrong, close your ears if you're sensitive, it was the wrong time of month for me to be wearing that costume. I was very embarrassed to be out and about in it. It looked great, but I mean, well, the costume looked great. I just...
Is that Farscape or SG1?
Farscape. And then SG1, I loved. The Vala stuff was amazing to look at, but also, you know, very in your face. But I was very delighted, it was sort of emotional on behalf of my character when Vala was given her, what's the name of the green? I always forget that particular type of green.
Olive drab.
OD.
Drab.
Olive drab.
Olive drab. But there's another word, is that what you said?
Olive drab.
No, well, yeah, I mean, when Vala got her years, but for her to get her own sort of, modified set. And when Christine Mooney said, I realised that because we've made you your own small version, they're not going to fit the normal patches, so she had to get special Vala patches customised. And I felt that, I just felt on behalf of Vala, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so special, she gets her own patches. She's officially part of the club. So that was my favourite moment, I think, on behalf of the character.
Worst is also one of the best, was wearing the Scorpius costume. With the codpiece and the wings, which limited your movement. There's one of the most overlooked things with a lot of actors, particularly in television and film, because they say, come in here, stand on the mark and do this, is how a character moves. The movement of a character, really good actors, even if the obvious choice would be something like John Wayne, the way he moved is something that people tried to imitate for a long period of time. But a character's movement is unique, and it's also unique to the actor. So when you put on the Scorpius outfit, you can't help but to walk like Wayne Pygram walked in those boots with the codpiece and the wings and the crocodile down the back, right? So the character is informed not only by the appearance of the costume, but how the costume either inhibits or encourages certain kinds of movement. And it's something that slips by most of us, particularly in the modern age, where it's just, hey, stand there and do this, and don't do anything else, just stand on the mark. That how we move, like watching people move through a room, there are certain people who walk through a room and it doesn't matter how they look, it's compelling to watch them move. They move like a dancer, or they move like an athlete, or they move like an old person that's carrying 90 years of life on their body, right? So these are critical things. So it's the worst and it's the best, because it was easy to do Scorpius in that outfit and it was horrible to wear.
You just brought up something really interesting. I'm reminded of some of the motion capture jobs I've done for video games, where people who make video games, especially motion capture, when they look at a person move when they walk into the audition space, it's like reading the Matrix. They're not actually looking at the decorative aspects of a person, they're reading the signature of their body movement, and they know what that's going to look like when it's been picked up by the computer and then animated over with the skin. And I really learned that lesson one day as technology was rapidly accelerating as it has in the last 10 years. We used to be able to see a little stick figure version of ourselves up on the screen when we were in the mocap suits. And you could get a little bit of information from that.
Time's up.
There is someone from the other side that would like to communicate. If you mean us no harm, kindly make yourself known. Okay.
Keep it up, we'll all be in the dark.
Does your name start with an A, B, See? Just, and one day, you know, as the technology was rapidly accelerating, there was an actor who'd been hired to play the lead. I was auditioning for several of the parts, and they said, we want you to do this one and this one. We loved you for the lead, but we're going to choose you for these two. I was like, great, lovely. And then when the woman came in, okay, we'll talk later. I'm a little busy, unless you have a message for Ben.
Dad?
Maybe.
Stick figures?
Yeah, but I was going to say that happened with another actor I worked with once. I was convinced that his dad was communicating with us. I feel like he put us together as friends on a job we were doing. It's very sweet. Anyway, I saw the woman in real life walk onto the volume to start rehearsing for the role, and I thought, she doesn't seem very, she needs to do a lot of sword play and a lot of fighting. And I didn't understand what I was looking at when I saw her in person. And then once she was in the mocap suit and I saw what was being rendered onto the screen and what was being captured, entirely different. So it's a fascinating thing what we pick up on when we're seeing a person as they appear, and it can be very powerful, someone's presence as an actor, and it's another thing entirely again in video game world, what someone's actual physiology translates to when it's digitized. It's fascinating.
How many different times have you done mocap?
Quite a few now. I can't count.
When you're,
Like I actually can't count, so then I can't count.
do you change the way you move for different characters?
I've repeated one character quite a few times on Uncharted, and then oh yeah, completely changed my inside out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have to, it's like theatre.
Yeah.
You take on the entire being.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder whether when they're auditioning actors, whether they realize that actors are capable of moving in a different way. And you know, I said to the costumes and everything else, when we were doing old people in Farscape, I stuffed the front of my blunnies with wads of paper to crunch my toes up so that it was painful to walk.
You're so like method.
It was just a really good cheat, but I knew that I didn't want to be walking like a young John Crichton. That's the worst thing you could possibly do at that stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Are you satisfied?
For now.